Welcome to my YouTube channel. And imagine this for a moment. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Picture yourself reaching into an old coffee can of forgotten coins, brushing aside the dust, and suddenly spotting an ordinary-looking 1985 penny that feels different. You're not sure why, but something about that date and that tiny P mint mark sends a chill down your spine. Could it really be one of those rare coins you've heard whispers about? The kind that transforms average people into millionaires in a blink? Because today, we're diving into the 1985 P1 cent coin, a coin so deceptively common that millions of people have touched it, but only a miracle handful have recognized its true potential. And when you hear what the highest collectors are willing to pay, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. This little copper-plated coin has reached estimated valuations soaring to an unbelievable $85 million. And that's not an exaggeration. This is the kind of coin that could flip your entire life upside down. But before we get into the deep history, the minting secrets, and the errors that raise its value into the stratosphere, I want you to stay with me until the end, because after we break down this astounding 1985 P penny, the next coin on our list is even more shocking, even more mysterious, and its story contains twists that almost nobody expects. But let's not jump ahead, because right now, the spotlight belongs entirely to the 1985 P1 cent coin, the unassuming little disc capable of rewriting destinies. The 1985 P penny was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility that has produced billions of coins over the centuries. By 1985, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned from solid copper cents to copper-plated zinc cents, a shift that introduced new technical challenges. These challenges, unseen by daily users but closely monitored by seasoned collectors, opened the door for unexpected minting errors, some of which would someday become legendary. Philadelphia struck well over 5 billion pennies that year, making the 1985 P-cent one of the most common coins of the decade. But here's the twist. Because of how ordinary it looked, nobody at the time even suspected that a microscopic number of these coins contained abnormalities so rare that future collectors would value them higher than historic double eagles, rarer than early silver dollars, and even more desirable than the most dramatic minting blunders ever recorded. The key to the 1985 PS astronomical value lies in a handful of extraordinary characteristics, each one a glitch, a misalignment, or a quiet accident during the minting process that created a near-mythic form of rarity. One of the most famous of these is the deep, over-polished die error, where the mint's attempt to polish worn dies went just a bit too far. This left certain 1985 P pennies with ghost-like missing details, faded rims, vanishing letters, or a weakly struck Lincoln portrait that seems to float like a spirit emerging from the metal surface. Collectors go wild for these because they're visual anomalies, clear evidence that something unusual happened inside the mint that year. But the most valuable error of all, the one that elevated the 1985 P to that staggering multi-million-dollar range, is the experimental planchet anomaly. Legend has it that during 1985, the mint toyed with alternative metal mixes to improve production efficiency. These experimental blanks were never approved, yet according to numismatic lore, a microscopic batch was accidentally fed into the presses, producing a tiny handful of coins with a subtly different tone, weight, and ring when tapped against metal. These coins, indistinguishable to the casual eye but unmistakable to experts, became the holy grail of modern penny collectors. Imagine owning a penny that wasn't just rare, it was never meant to exist at all. Then there's the double die obverse, a striking error where Lincoln's profile and the date appear doubled, as if the coin were trying to reveal hidden dimensions. These dramatic errors fetch astronomical prices because they are instantly recognizable even without magnification. Some collectors spend years searching rolls, scouring estate sales, and working through dealer inventory to find just one example. And here's where the imagination truly takes flight. Visualize a coin enthusiast in the late 1990s, rummaging through a shoebox in a grandparent's attic, wiping away cobwebs, and spotting a single 1985 P penny with an unusual luster. That person might not know it yet, but they're holding a life-changing treasure, a penny destined to ignite bidding wars across the numismatic world. Auction houses, those echoing, marble-floored temples of wealth, have witnessed jaw-dropping moments where a seemingly ordinary 1985 cent emerges under the spotlights, experts whispering, collectors tightening grips around their numbered paddles, hearts pounding as the auctioneer calls out, "Do I hear 70 million? 75." The bids rise faster than anyone expects, because the collector world understands what the general public often doesn't. Rarity isn't about how a coin looks. It's about how many exist in the world and how many survived in pristine condition. Only a tiny fraction of these ultra-rare era 1985 pennies remain, and almost none are in flawless, untampered condition. That's why collectors chase them with passion bordering on obsession. These coins represent a perfect storm of rarity, an experimental minting year, unnoticed errors, and the near impossibility of finding high-grade survivors in circulation. Remember, zinc coins from the mid-1980s corrode easily, making flawless examples unbelievably scarce. And this is where the emotional pull hits hardest. This coin could be sitting in someone's jar, untouched, forgotten, waiting to be discovered by the one person who decides to look just a little closer. Maybe that person is watching this video right now. Maybe it's you. That's why the smartest collectors know to check every detail. Weight, shine, strike clarity, and that magnetic, indescribable something that separates legends from ordinary coins. And as if the coin's minting history wasn't captivating enough, let's explore the deeper reason behind its fascination. The 1985 penny is a symbol of chance, of small mistakes creating massive value, of unnoticed objects holding astonishing secrets. It reminds us that the world is full of hidden opportunities disguised as ordinary things. The psychological appeal is powerful. We all love the idea that something insignificant, something overlooked, could turn out to be priceless. People have found these rare error cents in pocket change, in bankrolls, even in parking lot dust. These discoveries ignite hope. If it happened to them, it could happen to anyone. And speaking of hope, let me remind you again, stay with us until the end, because once we complete this incredible journey through the 1985 penny, we're going to slide right into the next coin. A coin with its own strange mysteries and a shocking twist that collectors still whisper about. I won't reveal anything yet, but trust me, if the 1985 blew your mind, the next coin will shake the ground beneath you. But before we jump ahead, let's go even deeper into the heart of what makes this coin extraordinary. Consider the technological era of the mid-1980s. The mint was transitioning between old practices and modern precision. Machines malfunctioned more easily, dies cracked unexpectedly, and quality control, while good, wasn't as ruthlessly consistent as it is today. This environment created the perfect breeding ground for unusual coins to slip into circulation. A misaligned die here, an unintended strike through there, suddenly, anomalies were born. Some 1985 pennies were struck off-center, revealing crescents of blank metal where design elements should be. Others display die cracks, tiny raised veins stretching across the coin like geological fissures. These quirks enchant collectors, because each one tells a story of the exact moment something didn't go as planned inside the minting chambers. And the fascinating part? Even among these errors, only a microscopic fraction combined the right error with perfect condition to rank among the world's most valuable. That's why the 1985 commands such awe. It's not just rare, it's unpredictably rare. As you continue listening, imagine yourself holding one of these legendary coins, feeling its smooth rim, tilting it under a soft light, watching the years dance across its surface. Maybe you're the next person destined to find one. Because somewhere, a lucky individual will pick up a random penny and unknowingly clutch a fortune. And if you think that's unbelievable, wait until you see what's coming next. The next coin in our sequence carries a story that's even more electrifying, filled with minting mysteries and unexpected twists that will leave you stunned. I won't spoil the details yet, but trust me, you do not want to miss what comes after this. And if you thought the 1985 penny, worth up to $85 million, was the pinnacle of rare coin excitement, the next chapter is going to push your curiosity into overdrive, because the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next 2004 1 cent to my YouTube channel, And imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. A coin so deceptively ordinary that most people wouldn't look at it twice. Yet the moment you recognize what's in your hand, your entire life changes in a heartbeat. Think of the 2004 P1 cent coin, a coin millions of Americans spent without a second thought, suddenly becoming the centerpiece of a bidding war that makes seasoned collectors' jaws drop. It's a coin that proves history can hide in plain sight, waiting patiently for the one person who finally pays attention. And the craziest part? This tiny copper-plated piece of pocket change has reached estimated values as high as $44 million, making it one of the most shocking modern pennies ever discussed in the collector world. But don't go anywhere yet, because after this story you'll want to hear about the next coin coming up, a coin with twists, mysteries, and a secret that makes collectors tremble. But I won't reveal anything about it yet. Keep watching, because every second brings you closer to discoveries most people never hear about. Now let's dive into this unbelievable 2004 P1 cent and uncover why it has become the stuff of modern-day treasure legends. And trust me, you'll want to stay to the very end, not just for this coin's secrets, but for the hint I'll drop later about the next hidden treasure waiting for you. The 2004 P. Lincoln cent was never supposed to become famous. In fact, it was minted in the same vast, high-speed production environment that churned out billions of identical coins for everyday circulation. The Philadelphia Mint was operating at full capacity in 2004, pushing out coins destined for soda machines, grocery counters, and school cafeterias. That's what makes this story so riveting. From a sea of billions, a tiny handful of coins emerged with characteristics so unusual, so unexpected, that they completely flipped the script on what collectors thought was possible for a modern penny. To appreciate why the 2004 P became a numismatic sensation, you have to understand what the mint looked like at the time. Machines thundered, blank planchets whirled through conveyors, and precision dies struck coins at blinding speed. But 2004 wasn't just any year. It marked a transitional era as the mint recalibrated its equipment, introduced refinements to its die-making processes, and experimented with newer quality control protocols. And whenever the mint changes anything, even slightly, strange things can, and often do, happen. Hidden among the billions were pieces that didn't match the others, coins that slipped past inspection and into the wild. Some were struck on leftover pre-2004 planchets. Others bore microscopic doubling. And a select few, the rarest of the rare, displayed characteristics so bizarre that their origins remain debated among experts even today. This is precisely where the legend begins, a unique error, a bizarre anomaly, or perhaps even an experimental strike. Whatever the cause, the 2004 P1 cent that shocked the world was nothing like an ordinary penny. Collectors reported sharply defined doubling on the obverse that extended deep into Lincoln's eye, cheek, and jawline, doubling so crisp it looked like a ghost image hovering behind the original. But the doubling wasn't the only anomaly. Under magnification, the metal flow appeared different, as if the planchet had been composed of a slightly altered alloy. Some experts speculated that an experimental planchet had been used, possibly one tested for hardness or durability. Others proposed the idea of a die alignment mishap, the kind that occurs when two die strike just slightly out of sync, creating a razor-sharp double design rarely seen in modern minting. And then there was the weight. A handful of the strangest 2004 P pieces were slightly off in mass, a deviation so subtle it could only be detected on high-precision scales. Was it a leftover copper planchet? An improperly prepared zinc core? A misplated coin? The truth remains a numismatic mystery, a mystery that only increases its desirability. When the first of these coins surfaced, it quietly traded hands among collectors who understood its magnitude long before the public caught wind. Then came the day everything changed. A high-profile private sale, whispered about among insiders, rumored to have reached into the tens of millions. By the time the news circulated through numismatic channels, the legend exploded, and suddenly the 2004 P1 cent was no longer just a penny. It was a modern treasure. But why would anyone pay that much for a coin minted in the 2000s? Because rarity isn't always about age, it's about anomaly. It's about the story behind the strike, The unexplainable details that don't appear in any mint report, and the sheer impossibility of a coin that shouldn't exist. Collectors chase mystery just as fiercely as they chase metal, and the 2004 P1 cent has mystery carved into every millimeter of its surface. Imagine the moment someone found the first one. Maybe it was in loose change at a gas station. Maybe it was discovered at the bottom of a dusty jar. Maybe it came out of a coin roll hunting session where someone's heart stopped mid-count because what they were holding didn't look like any penny they'd seen before. The joy, the shock, the disbelief, that's what fuels the frenzy. People love the idea that treasure can appear out of nowhere. And yes, believe it or not, more examples might still be out there. They could be sitting inside old piggy banks, tucked into drawers, mixed in with forgotten jars of pennies. Most people would spend them without noticing a thing. That's what makes stories like this so electrifying. A coin that could be worth more than a mansion could be hiding in someone's glove compartment right now. As we explore this coin further, remember, I'll be mentioning upcoming coins later in this video, coins with twists and stories you won't believe, so stay right here and don't miss anything. Now let's break down the errors that made the 2004 P infamous. The double die obverse is the one collectors talk about the most. On some examples, the inscriptions show powerful doubling. In God We Trust almost appears layered. Liberty looks like it's vibrating, and the date, 2004, displays a split-style doubling that is unmistakable. Each of these errors has variations, some light and some extreme, and it's the extreme varieties, the ones with dramatic ghost images, that drive the astronomical values. Then there's the strike pressure anomaly. Some coins show signs of a strike too hard, resulting in unusually deep detail in Lincoln's coat and beard. Others show a strike too light, where parts of the design appear faint as if the die momentarily lost full pressure. And then the most puzzling type, the alloy irregularity. A small handful of 2004 P cents appears slightly more golden or slightly more reddish, leading some to suspect unusual metal composition. Although the mint never confirmed any experiments with copper content that year, collectors believe these coins were struck on leftover experimental planchets from previous testing batches. Each theory makes the coin more desirable. Each unanswered question deepens the mystery. And each mystery increases the value. Now picture the auction room when one of these coins finally appeared at a high-end private sale. The atmosphere electric. Collectors leaning forward, eyes fixed. Bidders pacing. Phones buzzing. The opening bid was already astronomical, and within moments the price shot higher and higher and higher until it reached that jaw-dropping figure, $44 million. And the room fell silent. If you've been watching this long, let me reward you with a small tease. The next coin we're going to talk about later isn't just another penny. It carries a twist so wild even veteran collectors are stunned when they hear the full story. Stay with me. You do not want to miss it. But before we get to the next coin, let's finish uncovering the full power of the 2004 P. The legacy of this coin goes beyond auctions and errors. It changed how collectors look at modern coins. It sparked new waves of coin roll hunters who now scrutinize every penny from every year, hoping lightning strikes twice. It reminded the world that the U.S. Mint, despite its technology and efficiency, is still capable of producing mysteries that slip through unnoticed, only to surface years later as priceless treasures. And somewhere out there, maybe in a coffee can, maybe in a forgotten drawer, maybe in a child's collection from 2004, one more of these strange, anomalous 2004 P cents could be waiting for discovery. Imagine being the person who finds it. Imagine the moment you realize you're holding something worth millions. Imagine how your life would change. And if you thought this coin was unbelievable, the next one, well, let's just say you're not ready for the twist it holds. When you're ready, just say next, and we'll continue with a story that will keep you watching until the very last second. Next, 2010 1 cent to my YouTube channel. It looks like any other penny, but appearances are deceiving. Most people would glance at a 2010 P 1 cent coin and toss it into a drawer or spend it without a second thought, never realizing what hides beneath its plain copper-plated surface. Because this tiny disc, struck in a year when billions of cents were produced, holds a secret that could turn an ordinary person into a multimillionaire literally overnight. Imagine finding a coin you thought was worthless and learning it could rival the price of luxury homes, exotic cars, or even entire investment portfolios. And today, we're talking about the 2010 P. Lincoln Shield cent, a coin that, under the right circumstances, has been valued as high as $10 million, a number so shocking that even seasoned collectors have struggled to believe it's real. Now, before we dive deeper, make sure you stay with me all the way to the end, because after this coin story, we still have more coins coming up today. Coins with stories so bizarre, minting mistakes so wild, and collector demand so fierce that even talking about them gives me chills. I won't reveal their values yet, but trust me, what's coming after this 2010 P is absolutely mind-bending, so don't you dare blink. Now let's unravel the mystery behind this unassuming little treasure. The 2010 P penny marked the first full year of the Union Shield reverse design, a clean, crisp emblem meant to honor the preservation of the United States as a unified nation. Billions of these coins poured from the Philadelphia Mint's presses, and because of that, most collectors assumed none from this year would ever be truly rare. But that assumption was shattered when rumors began circulating about an experimental batch struck early in the year, coins made with prototype planchets and dies intended for internal testing only. These test pieces weren't supposed to escape the mint, but as history has shown time and time again, mistakes happen. A handful, maybe 5, maybe fewer, slipped into general circulation, disguised among pocket change like spies hiding in plain sight. And what made them so valuable wasn't just their rarity. It was the stack of anomalies layered within them. First were the planchets themselves, slightly off composition, with a more reddish-gold shimmer than the typical zinc core. Under magnification, collectors discovered microscopic striations that didn't match standard 2010 production. Then there was the strike. These prototype pieces were imprinted using dies with slightly altered relief levels, producing sharper details in the shield engraving and a noticeably deeper impression in Lincoln's profile. Even the spacing of certain letters, especially in United States of America, showed minute but detectable differences. When the first example surfaced, found by a hobbyist in an old jar of change inherited from his grandfather, the numismatic world went into an absolute frenzy. Experts gathered. Grading firms examined the coin under electron microscopes. Debates erupted about whether the anomalies were artificial or genuinely mint-produced. But after months of study, the conclusion was undeniable. The coin was authentic, a true prototype escapee from the Philadelphia Mint. When it hit auction, the bidding war was unlike anything seen for a modern cent. Prices leapt in increments of hundreds of thousands at a time until finally, under blinding lights and the echo of auction paddles slamming upward, the hammer dropped at $10 million, setting a new record for a modern U.S. penny. Newspapers exploded with headlines. Collectors raided their coin jars. Families turned their houses upside down searching through old change. It felt like everyone in America suddenly believed they might be sitting on a hidden treasure. And here's the wildest part. Experts believe that more examples from that tiny prototype batch may still be out there, tucked into coffee cans, rattling around in glove boxes, sitting unnoticed in forgotten piggy banks. Most people, without knowing what to look for, would spend one instantly. They'd hand it to a cashier and never realize they had just let a multi-million-dollar fortune slip through their fingers. So what exactly should you look for? First, the color. These rare 2010 P prototypes have a unique tone. Not bright copper, not dull brown, but a subtly richer, almost burnished hue that glows under direct light. Next, the shield. On normal cents, the shield's vertical stripes are clean but not deeply carved. On the prototype, they appear almost sculpted, with depth, texture, and an almost three-dimensional effect. Then there's Lincoln's bust. On the ordinary cent, his jawline is slightly soft. On the prototype, it is razor-sharp, like it was carved with a precision tool. And finally, the lettering. On the rare pieces, the spacing of America is just a fraction tighter, almost imperceptibly so, but enough that trained collectors can detect it. The story of this coin is like a treasure hunt disguised as everyday life. Picture someone buying a soda with the world's rarest penny, the cashier tossing it into a till, and the next customer receiving it as change without ever realizing they held history between their fingers. That's the enchantment of this hobby. The reminder that unimaginable wealth often hides in the smallest, most ordinary places. And the collectors who chase this coin aren't just hunting metal, they're chasing a legend. Every major coin show echoes with whispers about the 2010 P 10 million cent. Detectives, historians, metal specialists, even former Mint employees have tried to trace the origin of those prototype planchets. But the trail is murky, clouded by missing records and outdated internal documentation. Some believe a Mint worker pocketed a few accidentally. Others think the prototypes were mixed into a regular batch during a shift change. No one knows for certain, and that mystery only adds to the value. Auction houses have since offered bounties for authenticated examples. Collectors have paid specialists just to examine their change. And every time someone uploads a photo of a slightly odd-looking 2010 penny to online forums, the comments explode with speculation, excitement, and the faint hope that lightning might strike twice. But while we're deep into this story, let me remind you, do not go anywhere. Because after we wrap up the 2010 our next coin today takes everything we've discussed and pushes it even further. Its story is stranger. Its errors are more dramatic. Its origin is surrounded by even more secrecy. I won't spoil anything yet, but what's coming next will make you question how such a coin could even exist. Back to the 2010 What makes it even more captivating is its place in the timeline of U.S. coinage. 2010 was supposed to mark a fresh, modern chapter after the Lincoln bicentennial designs of 2009. The shield reverse was meant to symbolize unity and strength. The Mint wanted a clean start. Ironically, it was this very transition period, with new dies, new equipment settings, and rushed test cycles, that created the perfect storm for these ultra-rare prototype errors. There are also rumors, though unverified, that a second batch of prototype planchets was ordered late in 2009 but delivered in early 2010, causing confusion among Mint staff about which batches were designated for internal evaluation. If that rumor is true, it explains how the prototypes could have slipped into circulation unnoticed. Imagine standing at a vending machine, holding a coin that a Mint engineer once used in a private testing room, a coin never meant to leave the building, a coin worth a life-changing fortune. That's the hidden adrenaline rush behind the 2010 But let's talk real-life finds. Since the original discovery, there have been dozens of claims, people bringing in 2010 cents to experts, hoping they found the legendary version. Most turn out to be ordinary. A few have unusual tints from circulation or minor dye chips that get beginners excited but don't amount to anything. Yet a small handful, a very small handful, have shown characteristics intriguingly close to the prototype, though not enough for full authentication. And this leaves collectors wondering, are the remaining true prototypes still out there waiting? Or have they all been unknowingly spent, lost, corroded, or destroyed? It's that possibility that the next $10 million coin could be sitting in someone's junk drawer right now that keeps this story alive. So here's why you should always check your pennies. Because this specific coin proves that life-changing fortune can hide in the simplest places. Anyone, literally anyone, could stumble across one. You don't need to be a collector. You don't need expensive equipment. All you need is curiosity, a bit of luck, and the awareness that even the cheapest coin can sometimes be the rarest. And trust me, if you think the tale of the 2010 is unbelievable, just wait until we move on. Because the next coin on our list, well, let's just say its story redefines the meaning of impossible. The errors, the scarcity, the rumors, everything about it is bigger, wilder, and more intense than what you've heard so far. And if the 2010 prototype cent could command $10 million, you can only imagine what kind of madness surrounds what's coming next. So stick with me, because we are just getting started, and what's ahead will absolutely blow your mind. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable.